Hello guys and welcome back. So we have finished some of the basic things for the ARM. So now we can use that slider to control the IK and FK's blending. But there is actually one thing we're missing. We cannot use the controller, the IK controller, to rotate the wrist at all. If you go look for the joint here, and then we can actually display its rotation axis here. Let me try that again. Display, transform display, local rotation axis. You can see now we cannot rotate it at all using IK, but we can rotate it using FK. And no matter when we're in IK mode or FK mode, it's always like this. The reason for that is IK controller never really change or control the rotation at all. All it concerns is the upper stream movement. Alright, so I do want the IK controller to be able to rotate the wrist, so I'm gonna go grab the IK controller and then shift select the wrist. Although it has the orange constraint on it already, I'm gonna do one more, but this time it's from IK controller. Okay, now what's the difference after that? Well, if you grab the joint again, you see now it has two inputs or two targets on the orange constraint. One is my FK, another one is my IK. I should have named that correctly, but this is FK and this is IK, and they are now all having a weight of 1. We can try rotate the controller now, and it's sort of moving it. But if you really look at the value we're getting, for example, I'm rotating 60 degrees, the value I'm getting here on the joint is only 30, which is half of the actual amount the controller has rotated. The same thing goes to the FK now. If I rotate FK, like 20 degrees, the joint will only be rotating 10 degrees. So they all have half control over this wrist joint now. Okay, and if you go change their weighting here, you can change how many percent they're affecting it. For example, if I go for 0.5 on the wrist and 1 on the FK and 1 on the IK, then FK will have only, let's take a look, only, I believe it's only like a third of the control on it, like 36, and then that's gonna be only 12 something, right? Because the control from the IK is twice as much as the FK. And notice that those numbers are relative. So if you put in like 1 and put in 2 here on the IK, it's gonna mean the same results. So if I rotate it like 30 degrees, I will see only 10 on the joints, or around 10. So the weighting here are relative, so it doesn't have to be from 0 to 1. Although 0 to 1 is a good way of controlling it. So with that information, I can then use my slider to control when IK is having a weight of 1 and when FK is having a weight of 1. Okay, and that's very easy to do if you have done the previous ones. We just need to use the slider here. Let me just grab it and then show the input-output connection. Oh, I haven't done any I haven't done anything else yet. Okay, so we have the controller here now. I want to use that to control the constraint on it. To grab the constraint, you can select that and then maybe click on it, and then go edit, select node, and then edit it. No, that's not actually doing it. Alright, let's just go press F to find where the joint is and open it, and then middle mouse drag the orange constraint here and then open it. So what I'm going to do here is using the translate X, because translate X is controlling the weighting of the IK blend, or the value of IK blend, and that's exactly what I want for the IK weight. So I'm going to connect it right there. That means when the IK is on, then on the orange constraint, the IK will have a weight of 1. When the IK is off, then I want it to be 0. See that? I want the FK to be the offset. So what I can do here is press tab button and tap button on the keyboard and tap in reverse. Okay, so what this one does is it's gonna reverse any inputs, and the output will be the value of 1 minus the input. So I'm gonna call this reverse left arm IKFK blend. Better make my naming consistent. I have underscore between IKFK. Okay, let me open it. I'm gonna connect X to input X and output X, which is the value of 1 minus input X goes to FK. Now if you look at the orange constraint now, it's either 1, 0, or when I drag it downwards, it's gonna be 0, 1. Okay, so now I have this weighting changing when I drag my slider. So now when I'm in IK mode, IK will take full control, right? The same amount of rotation there. And when I drag it back, FK will take over. Now you see FK is taking full control. Okay. Alright. So that's one extra thing we did. Let's move on to set up the visibilities of those controllers, because I don't want to see them all the time. When I'm in IK mode, I only want to see the IK controller. And when I'm in FK mode, I only want to see, of course, FK controllers. Those things are very easy to set up too. All I have to do is using my translate X and the reversed version of it to control the visibility of the controllers. For FK, that's going to be the IC FK shoulder GRP. It's going to be controlled by the reversed version of the translate X of the slider from there to the visibility. Okay, and you see now it disappears. When I drag it back, it goes back. For IK, we have two controllers. Let me grab them both and put them here. And then I'm going to pop in the translate X, channel in translate X. And I can actually do this because those two will always be on and off at the same time. So I'm going to use translate X, connect to there. And then just to make things easier to read, I'm also going to connect that output from the visibility of the IK elbow to the wrist, because they will always be the same. I don't know what that is. I'll get it out. Okay, so that's another little feature we can implement. And then when we drag this now, drag the slider now, you can see IK, FK are now switching between each other. I can now drag IK when I'm in IK mode. I can drag FK when I'm in FK mode. Alright, fantastic. So with that set up, eventually what I'm going to do is use our driver joint to actually drive our binding joint. So I'm going to go select the binding joint, Shift H to unhead it. Okay, to make the driver joint to control the binding joint, we just need to do a constraint, parent constraint. Okay, so for the scale, if you're going to do stretch arm later on, maybe we want to do that here too, but let's just leave it alone for now. I don't want to give you too much information. So there, and then to the joint underneath it, let me do that again, constraint, parent constraint, and again, wrist to wrist joint, constraint, parent constraint. Alright, with those three set it up, then we can use our controller to move the body now. Okay, it's a little bit slow. So yeah. Alright, so now the arm rig is basically finished. It's a very simple setup. It's not the hardest one, it's not the easiest one either, but it's at least, in my opinion, the professional one. You know, basically fulfills you know, the professional needs. Anyway, when we're done with the rigging setup, we're ending up with a lot of, you know, stuff in the outliner, which is, you know, scattering around. It might be okay to have a feel like that, but imagine that we will have the other arm, 2 legs, the spine, and more finger setups here. So if we keep them all on the outside, it's gonna, you know, make things super messy and hard to find. So I'm gonna put them into hierarchy. For the driver joint, I'm gonna group it and call it JT left arm DRV arm. Oh, actually arm DRV. GRP. Okay, so that's the left side arm driver group for the joint. And the other 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the controllers. So I'm gonna group that and call that AC left arm GRP. So I end up with now is 2 groups. The driver joint group for the arm and then the controller for the arm. I can then group them together. Left arm rig GRP. So this way everything is organized based on their type. Okay, I can even go even deeper here. I can grab all FK, all IK controllers and group them and call that AC left IK GRP if that's more convenient. But you know, this hierarchy is not the only way to organize stuff, but just one of the ways I use. And with that, I now only ends up with one very simple group for the arm rig. Let me grab the root and group it. That's the original binding joint. I'm gonna call it JT deformation GRP. That's the deformation group. I can even group those two together and call this Sophia rig. GRP. Okay, so this is a Sophia rig. Underneath that we have the deformation system, we have the movement system or motion system, and later on we will have another folder called right arm rig, left leg rig, span rig, GRP, and underneath those GRPs we have joint group and controller group or even other groups for different parts. So that way everything is very well organized. Notice that when we're doing those changes, we're not actually changing the functionality at all. So this is purely reorganizing the hierarchy, and then you can also just think of those things as folders if that's more convenient. Anyway, so that is the organization with the arm. When I'm done with the arm, I can actually go add the entire arm rig if I don't want to see them for now. So this is actually really convenient. Let's move on to the controllers for the finger. If you are in section 1, we did that in class. If you are in section 2, we didn't. So you can maybe do that later, or you can actually skip this part. But for section 1, I do ask you to do this. So what I want you to do is check the orientation of the joints. My orientation is all okay, so I don't have to change anything. In case you need to though, you can then go to the skin, and then there is a move skin joints, and then you can go to channel box and go to attribute editor and do some simple changing, like maybe I want to twist it this way or that way, up and down, or across the radius. So tweak your orientation so when you grab all the controllers of the finger, you can easily just bend it this way. I have some weighting issue there though. Maybe the position is not good enough of that guy, or maybe it shouldn't be bending that much because how much the different body part bends is different. Okay. Anyway, with that being done, you can then go to our little code here, our little script here, to do the control, to create those controllers. I added one more line here on this guy, actually, orange constraint, but I'm gonna delete that just to make sure that we're doing the same thing. So I'm just gonna grab all the joints. I think I need controllers. Oh, let me also duplicate those out to create driver joint. Control D, Shift P, Control G, JT left and DRV GRP. Okay, and then I'm gonna rename those. Search and replace name. I'm gonna replace left with left DRV underscore and then apply. Alright. and those should be 1 instead of 5. Okay. With those renamed, I can then grab them all and then create controllers using my little code. I'm just gonna create all the controllers for them. I'm gonna isolate those. I don't actually need the last ones, so let me grab those and press the up arrow button to select their parent and delete it. Alright, now we have those controllers. They are not really looking quite fit. So I'm gonna go to their history here. I didn't delete the history in the code, so we can change it, like flip it to the X direction and make their radius bigger. Okay, and I can delete history now. For this last one, I can, on the sum it's too small, so I need to maybe rotate it a little bit more, make it bigger. Alright, so that's all the controllers. Let me group those together and call this AC, left, and GRP. Okay, and underneath them I want to give them hierarchies. So let me shift and click to open that. Sum goes to, its own hierarchy here, just like the thing we did on the arm. So you can think of those things as mini arms, if that makes sense. What's this gonna do here? Okay. Oh, I think I did something weird. Does it go back? That's right, sum is there, index is there. That's wrong. Okay, so middle finger goes underneath its own hierarchy, and then move on to ring finger, and then pinky finger. Alright. Oh, and in their naming, I don't want to see the DRV. So let me go modify, search, and replace name. I'm gonna search for left DRV and replace with left, and then apply. That way I can get rid of the DRV thing. Alright. The last thing we haven't done is the orange constraint on the joint. So I'm gonna grab the controller and then the joint and do an orange constraint. If you've done everything correctly, you shouldn't really care about the settings inside of the orange constraint. They will be the same with or without maintain offset. Alright, so that is everything we did in class. Okay, so if you're really focused and you understand all the steps, it takes me like 18 minutes. Okay, maybe you can do it a little bit slower, but all I want you to be careful about is that I want you to be really careful about every step. Don't imagine what I did, follow the instruction 100%, because even it looks good, it doesn't mean it's good at all sometimes. So just be aware that you want it to be able to, what is that? Oh, you know what? I think I have sometimes select the wrong finger, because I have 2 fingers there. I should have fixed that. So before you do the constraint, make sure that you had the original binding joint, and you want to actually control those joints. Hopefully I have those. Nope. So I probably need to redo the orange constraint. Just be aware that don't do the orange constraint when you have both joints there. I think I have done some of the orange constraint on the original binding joint, which I don't want it to. So let me just do that. Orange constraint. Those ones are supposed to be on the bending joint. Okay, so just be aware of that and fix that problem, and you should be good to go. Okay, in the next class, we're gonna go for some fine controls of the finger. So see you next time. Okay, thank you.